Steve!
What's up, man?
What's going on, dude? It's good to see you.
Yeah, same here, man. We were worried about you last night because we're like, it's not like him to miss. So
Yeah.
we're like all thinking, man, the worst happened. So glad to see you're
No,
okay.
no, yeah, everything's good. We're actually live right now. So for those that tuned into the table talk last night, I and Steve, I haven't had the chance to tell this story. I had a pretty busy week, had some writing projects and stuff I had to work on in a couple nights, and going into Thursday, really didn't get much sleep either. That didn't help. So then I'm like, man, this is the first night in a while I don't have to do double podcasts on a Thursday. So I'm going to take a nap before table talk so that I'm energized and ready to go. Cause this was one I was particularly this one was on my calendar, man. Like I was excited about talking about like media day and like everything going on. And so of course, my dumbass sets a timer for 60 minutes and sleeps through that timer and wakes up at 11:30 p.m. So meant to take a 1 hour nap, ended up being near 5. So that is what happened. Yo, my boy Carl, what's good, man? Welcome to the stream. It's good to see you, brother. We got
man. Joe was trying to get you on the line. I think he's still trying to.
Yeah, he's got both phones. He's trying to call up right now. He's worried. Listen.
He was calling into Woodward on one. He was calling your cell on the other.
I still think one of those phones is going out to the farm in Serbia trying to check in on how Darko's doing. It's like, just because it's an asset that's giving diminished returns, it doesn't mean you're still not invested. You know what I'm saying? It's like, as long as Darko's winning at life, that's all that matters.
I keep saying he's got D Wade on one line and Chris Bosh on the other, like, please.
And he only has those two on the line because the third phone has Carmelo Anthony on hold.
He's trying to get him on AOL Instant Messenger on his like 95 computer there.
Is that maybe why Joe got fired? Is because he was doing all of his transactions still through AOL IM? Like it was just like, Joe, it's 2014. You can't still be using AOL. Side note,
yeah.
The amount of people that still use AOL in 2022 boggles my mind.
Get out of here. No way. There can't be.
As someone that works in technical support, I swear 15 to 20% of the people I interact with use AOL.
Well, them and my 70-year-old father.
Has AOL.
My dad, he's just turned 70.
That's you see, and I was probably talking to your dad. That's probably what it was. Oh my gosh. But man, Steve, basketball is actually back. I do, like, before we talk like Piston stuff, because like obviously that's that's the priority here. That's the first thing we do. I mean, we also talk NBA here. It's what we do, I haven't been able to watch the full game yet. My very early takeaways so far. I know people are gonna freak out about the shooting numbers or whatever. It's the first preseason game off of jet lag in a different time zone. They're in Japan. Like, coming off of a finals win. Give them a break. You know what I'm saying? But what I will say, when I saw what I've seen from James Wiseman, I'm not making any definitive statements, but I remember, I'm not sure if this was like something we were on together, but like we were talking about like the 20, like if you were to redraft 2020, who would go where, and someone had like James Wiseman going like, I think it was just like a conversation with friends. Someone had like James Wiseman going out of the lottery. I'm like, no. He's still in the top 5. Like, don't get this twisted, because if he works, he has the physical intangibles to be a perfect complementary big for what they have going on. Like, no insult to Kevon Looney. Like, the fact that they've been able to win and do as much as they've been able to do with Kevon Looney just speaks to how hard of a worker he is, how much he's grown and improved his game. But like, Steve, you and I both know if James Wiseman is a hit, that this brings the Warriors to a different level, right? And like, I think today and even like Summer League, you've seen the glimpses of what this guy can be. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it looks good. Again, you're saying if he hits, like Draymond doesn't have to score anymore, pretty much is what that would mean.
Yeah.
Everybody has kind of criticized him, but it's like, I think this is part of it is he's waiting for that other big to where all he can do is play make now, be his defensive greatest, as he always is, and then play make on offense to where now he has nothing but shooters and this big dude that can operate in the mid post out on the perimeter. And then he can do pick and roll stuff with, it would just make them maybe the greatest team ever. Cause who knows if he could help them win like 2 more titles,
Well, it's crazy because we talk a lot about, like how much, like we talked about how much Cade gained weight over this past offseason. Can we talk about how different James Wiseman looks from when he was drafted? Because he looked like a freaking like toothpick on opening night in comparison to where he's at now. Like he still has that athleticism. He still has like a stocky frame. I'm not saying this guy's going to be like one of the best bigs in the league or anything. I mean, he certainly has a high ceiling, but I think the thing that like works in his advantage, like a lot of people think, oh, well, he's going to have to come in and learn how to play with learn how to play in it. Guys, their system, the reason why it's brilliant is it's because it's so complex and so simple at the same time. It's just about playing basketball the right way. And if like James Wiseman does the dirty work and the basic stuff, he's going to get rewarded by amazing dimes from Steph Curry that like you can arguably not get anywhere else in the league. Like the quality of assists that he can create because of his shooting ability. James Wiseman conceivably is going to get 10 points a night just off of easy buckets alone. Imagine if he can create 10 more points just himself.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about Kevon Looney. Kevon Looney won because he did the dirty work. He can rebound. He can score some. He just does. He's what I call a mortar player, to where like if you're laying the brick wall, he's the mortar. He just fills in all the little cracks that everybody else on the lineup does. Like if Wiseman can do even half of that and then continue to be 7 foot, 240 pounds, have somewhat of, even if he shot 33% from 3-point land, like you have to respect that now. So now you have your center, the opposing center has to come out on him. And especially in the West where you have somebody like Jaren Jackson Jr., who like the Grizzlies obviously have this vendetta against the Warriors now. Like that really throws a monkey wrench in their plans because now they can't use Jaren Jackson Jr. like they want to because they have to put him on Wiseman.
Yep, exactly. And, the other thing too, like I know they lost pieces this summer, with Gary Payton and Otto Porter leaving their system. But the thing is, they still have guys like Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga, and this is one of the best teams in player development in the league as well. So for them to like be in this situation, like there's no other franchise in the NBA that could simultaneously be developing talent and contending at the same time like they can.
Yeah, they're up there with the Heat too in terms of finding guys on the market. Another young guy, GP2, like you said, like who thought GP2 would be as impactful as he has been there? It's just these guys that they find on the margins. Juan Toscano Anderson, another guy where, again, they kind of find either reclamation projects. If you go back to their first title teams, they had Livingston, another guy people kind of wrote off, but they had a plan for him. They put him in there, and again, he became an integral part of that championship team. And then Kevon Looney is another good, it's finding guys on the margins that fit the team. That's why they're still going to be, up there for sure.
Yeah, and that's what the best teams do. They find the diamonds in the rough. That's part of why it's been optimistic about Troy Weaver so far, is because he's shown that similar trait of being able to go out and do the same thing. So, side note, one thing that I love too is like, I don't want to touch on this too much because we've already talked about it a lot, but I love hearing that everyone else on Twitter is like, wait, all they had to give up for Bojan Bogdanovic is Kelly Olynyk and Saban Lee. Like what? I'm just glad that I'm not the only one out there that's like, what the? Because that trade shouldn't have happened, Steve. Like, I don't know how that got past Danny Ainge's desk.
Well, I mean, I put the tinfoil hat on. I talked to Joe here last night and said I think part of it is to hurt the Lakers, like to try and Danny Ainge obviously does not like the Lakers. That's part of his MO. He doesn't want to deal with them. And they were connected to those other Utah guys, Conley and Bojan. And the tinfoil hat part is maybe Troy Weaver has known that because they've been linked. The Pistons have been linked to the Lakers, and they one of those first round picks in the future. So I wouldn't put it past them to be like, hey, let's just get one of the guys that they want. Danny Ainge is like, cool, let's screw the Lakers over a little bit more. Well, so that would be my other conspiracy about it.
Well, and also there's just something that's inherently true, Steve, that like, the one thing that I think you and I know, and something that like is important to remind people about, like how trades work. The price for each team isn't the same. Like a price for a player, say, that could go with, like, if Bojan Bogdanovic could go potentially play with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, the Jazz are going to look at that with a different price than if he's going to play with Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham, because they know the value of what they're what they're giving up, and so they know that they can get more in return. Inherently, Bojan Bogdanovic objectively is more dangerous with the Los Angeles Lakers than he is with the Detroit Pistons. That's just how it is, right?
Yeah,
like he makes the Pistons more competitive. He makes them a team you don't want to face on a night-to-night basis. But the Lakers, he makes them a different beast.
Yeah, absolutely. And also too, with those kind of things, is like, hey man, I'm essentially saving your team, or I'm essentially like getting you into the playoffs if I gift you Bojan for whatever scraps they have, right? And the same thing with, just to piggyback off that, like the Russell Westbrook deal. Like that's why he can't get moved, is because everybody knows whoever takes him is saving the Lakers, and they don't have anything that can make up for that.
Steve, can I run something by you today? I had a theory in my head of what should happen with Russell Westbrook. And like, I'm kind of mad because it's kind of perfect. So hear me out. The Los Angeles Lakers, they're going to stick with Russell Westbrook, right? And more than likely, they're probably not going to be able to trade him until the deadline. Let's be honest. That's when he's going to be at his most valuable, because at that point you can just take on his salary. You only have to eat it for a half a year. You could perhaps even have him sit at home. You don't even have to bring him into the building. You can get picks, and in return, like if a team is like wanting to begin the rebuild, that's a pretty darn good way to start, right? I'm looking through the landscape of the NBA, and I'm like, what team in the middle of the year could just decide, screw it? And I saw a video today of Chet Holmgren shooting on a scooter. And Steve, what if Russell Westbrook goes home to the Oklahoma City Thunder? In exchange, the Thunder can send, like, say some of their, either like their young assets or their more veteran players that they have. Maybe you could throw like a multi-team deal that has SGA in there, because at some point SGA could, I mean, I'm not saying like the Thunder want to trade him, but the reality is that, is SGA really going to want to tank another year? Like, he's like one of their more competitive young pieces, and like he's not getting younger. So like, I'm like, that's a whole other piece to it. But like, what I'm saying is, what if Russ goes home, goes to the Thunder, has a Lance Stevenson like effect, where he goes back to the team that he was the most successful in and an environment that he's used to, and he thrives. And what if Russ, the following season, when the Thunder are ultimately looking to compete, what if he comes back on a veteran minimum, takes the backup point guard role, and ultimately becomes like a Udonis Haslem type, where he still plays and is part of the rotation, but instills what the Thunder culture is about, and rides it out in Oklahoma City to the end of his career? What are your thoughts? Am I crazy?
No, I don't think you're off base with that. But about being the backup, I don't know. Is there yet? That's a hard question for any player to have. We saw what happened with Melo, where it took a while and then he accepted it. I don't know if that'll happen with Russ.
But it could. In theory, where it could happen. Hear me out on this. What if he has like a decent year with the Lakers, not so great, goes to the Thunder, plays at home, and then they can come to him and say, hey, we could actually start competing over the next couple of years, and we want you to be a key part of it. The only thing is that you might require you to be coming off the bench. I mean, like if Russ is like a dedicated playmaking backup point guard who can defend and actually commit on that end, like that's not a bad backup point guard.
Yeah, I agree. I think the part that's hard is like, what does OKC give the Lakers? Because the Lakers need something. I think Kendrick Williams would be part of it. Lou
Right.
Dort probably is part of it too, just for like salary purposes. Can they even get to the salary that they need for Russ? I have no idea.
That's the thing. If you're
It,
going to
it would
do,
it would
and
have to be
that's why I even brought up SGA's name. Like I'm not saying he's going to be traded, but it's like
yeah.
if you're gonna do any sort of trade with the Lakers, it's gonna have to more than likely be like a 3 or 4 team deal in order to move Russ. Like that, like realistically, to move that type of salary just doesn't happen on a regular basis. So it's going to be
Yeah.
more complicated than like a cut and dry deal, right?
Yeah, so I'm looking at their sheet. Like if they traded Dort and Favors, that's 25 million right there. So I mean that's a start. And they just did that deal too, the eight player trade with Houston. So I'm not sure. I think David Nwaba was those, or maybe Marquise Chris, one of those two has another above average. So yeah, I think that would be the only thing is like, can the money work?
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember listening to Sam Vecini Game Theory podcast when they had discussed like who can even want Russ. The other one that they brought up was the Wizards of like, actually the Wizards need him back because they need that playmaking, tempo pushing point guard like they just gave up with him. So
yeah. Side note, I was the other takeaway that I had from watching the Wizards today. They're better than I thought they would be. I have been sleeping on Rui Hachimura and what he is as an athlete. Like that's a nice defensive player, man. Like if he could develop like any remnants of an offensive game, that's a valuable asset to have going forward. He can hoop. Like he was playing really gritty defense. He was getting in passing lanes, getting deflections. He was and like obviously part of that's he's at home, he's playing hard, but at the same time, like he's got a game to him, man. Like that's a guy I like.
yeah, same. He's a nice combo forward. Playmaking, I think, was the only thing. His shot's still kind of coming around, but I liked him a lot coming out of it. Like you could mold him in a couple different ways because of how athletic he is.
Yeah, I do think the one thing that's gonna bite the Wizards in the ass, though, I think losing Thomas Bryant was a really big deal for them because he was such an anchor for them on the defensive end. And like when healthy, Kristaps has moments where he can be a good interior defender, but like how many games are you expecting out of him this year realistically? If you get to 45 games this year with Kristaps, that's a miracle. Like
Pretty
honest
much,
to God,
yeah.
that's a miracle.
He's one of those guys that probably should be rested on back-to-backs or like, longer trips like that, just because, track record's not good in terms of his health.
Yeah. But otherwise, I just feel like they're in purgatory. But enough about them, Steve. Let's talk about who we care about. The Pistons preseason is on Tuesday. Who's excited? I know, my God, I have been waiting so long to see this roster play together, to see the combination of what it's going to be like to see Cade and Ivy on the court together, what it's going to be like to what Jalen Duren is going to look like on an NBA court, how Isaiah Stewart has taken, his steps to the next level. It's been really interesting, watching, media day and tuning in for like training camp. I know like 90% of the time what you hear on media day isn't like always what's really the case, right? But like I feel like from Troy Weaver and like Dwayne Casey and like from the Pistons in particular, like I feel like they were pretty transparent this, this media day. They didn't set the bar too high. They talked about how they want to go out and compete, what these last 2 years have been and what's going on going forward. Right. And like I listen to like other teams like the Jazz, like they're like, no, we're not tanking. Like we're gonna go out, like we're still looking to it's like, like there's like DeAndre Ayton, like, oh, I'm happy. Like there's certain situations where it's like, you can sniff the BS from a mile away. I'm not sniffing much BS here, Steve. There was a lot of honest, transparent answers from the Pistons this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the players, almost all of them talked about like playoff or wanting to compete, but none of them were like, this is what I'm going to do it now. And again, like we talked about last night on the table talk, everybody's wired to win, from Cade and how his game is, meant to contribute to winning no matter what he does, from Sadiq coming out of Villanova, all those guys learn how to play and roll, to Ivy and the time that he put in between his freshman and sophomore year. He's the son of Niele Ivy, who obviously is a fantastic coach with Notre Dame now as a head coach, even down to somebody like Isaiah Livers, who started his freshman year coming off the bench at Michigan for a national title team that came up short against Villanova. And he was the man and really helped that team move further. He got hurt. Unfortunately, they probably could have gone further. I think that's just the things, like all those guys are wired to win. And then Troy and Coach Casey both talked about ground zero. We heard that from Rob Murphy a while back too, which I think they understand, like, this is where everybody here is actually going to be here, we hope, long term. So that's why it's ground zero. It's like, okay, now we laid the foundation. Let's see if we can build something on top of this.
Yeah, for sure. And like it's one of those things where in hindsight, like I think, looking at, when it's one of those things where the Bojan Bogdanovic trade to me is like, it's a signal that this team is looking to compete. Like that's the thing, is like a lot of teams, but like you have to, like, you don't want to look at what they're saying. You want to look at what they're doing. I want to look at their actions. Right. And if you look at the Pistons actions over the last week or so, they went and traded 2 players that they liked in exchange for a guy that makes them better, is older, brings veteran presence, and isn't exactly looking to lose games. And then, I mean, like, you still in theory can move him. Like, you have that option down the road, but it's not like you're not going to be trying to win games while he's here. And in addition, talking about how they like who we have, how they like the guys that they have in house, how they're looking for their year 3 guys, the guys that they initially drafted at the beginning of this regime, they're looking at them to be leaders. And they back that up by extending all 3 of them, including Killian. And even with Killian, it's like he talked about, he knew what he needed to do. He wasn't exactly thrilled, or his first 2 years didn't go how he expected. Even Troy Weaver said at the beginning of when he drafted Killian that they were going to be patient with him, that they knew that struggles were going to come. And what have they done? They've stuck to their word and they've been patient with him. And even when he's had moments of struggling, they're still giving him leadership capabilities and responsibilities and think the world of him in that case. So, and the other thing too, when I'm talking about actions, he's, to his credit, he damn near changed his entire shot this summer. He backed it up. What are your thoughts, Steve?
Yeah, definitely. In terms of Killian, like he's been a professional for a very long time already.
Mm-hmm.
He was a professional as a teenager over in Europe, having to put that work in and continuing to be a professional here. I think, going back to Troy Weaver's comments about we want to get the person right, like Killian is prime example number 1, since he was the first one, of like, we may not know if the skill set's going to work, but we already know this kid is a professional, how he approaches the game, how he puts the work and the time in, all sets that we like and parts that we hope to get better. So yeah, I definitely feel that for sure, 100%.
Yeah, for sure. Also, yo, what up, Pistons Thoughts? Shout out. This guy's a real one here, man. I've known this guy since like 2016. Absolute real one. Appreciate you coming in here, bro. Always. Carl, I want Devin Booker too. Don't
we got
do that to me, right?
We got a better version of Devin Booker here with Cade. So
yeah, we have Devin Booker at home. Oh my God. No, but like in all seriousness, I think this goes back to what we all want out of Killian. I even noticed this today. I was looking up Killian Hayes on Twitter just like for the sake of like looking back on some quotes and things that he said at Media Day. And I stumbled across his Twitter. He's not really active on here. So like, you kind of, forgot I kind of forgot he had a Twitter. And his name on Twitter, he has Killian Kill Hayes. And that's what I want to see from him, man. I want him to go out looking to kill. I want him to have that type of intensity on both ends of the court. I know Kill is a cool nickname. I know it's something a lot of people will say about themselves. Like, yeah, man, I go out to kill. But like, in a league amongst men, you have to go at a different level to kill. That's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, and I
Also,
think too. Oh, sorry. Go
most
ahead.
definitely, I'm sending this guy the link right freaking now. But go ahead, Steve.
Oh, going back to like picking up the options too. I know the team had talked about looking at the Memphis Grizzlies rebuild as like not a prototype, but something that they think about, and it helped me on. Okay, this is why too with Killian and Livers and some of these other guys, they're going to take their time because yes, we know John Morant, yes, we know Jaren Jackson Jr., but that roster is filled out with incredible role players. Desmond Bain, late round pick, guy that people thought, I don't know if he's athletic enough. They overlooked the shooting. They overlooked him being just a solid basketball player. Bam, he's in there. Brandon Clark, a guy that comes off the bench, very athletic, maybe a little bit limited, but again, an incredible defender, explosive, another lob threat there. And then they just traded him away, but Melton, again, fantastic point of attack defender, somebody that can take that pressure off of Ja. Ended up working on his 3-point shot, got better. Sadly, they trade him to Philadelphia, so we're not rooting for him anymore. And then finally, Dylan Brooks, who is a great wing defender, shooter. Again, these guys aren't superstars, not household names, but they fit around the guys that are the foundation. I think that's why, again, Troy and them have been, they brought up that name of Memphis Grizzlies rebuild, thinking about that, and then showing patience, because look at what you're able to build if you can just show a little patience with guys.
Yeah, for sure. And it's again like we kind of like one of the storylines that like we kind of went into this year is like this is a make or break year for Killian, and like to a certain extent that's still the case. But to me, that extension says like, hey, like we're confident in you. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna see this through, and like they can still trade that contract in theory, like because it'll be an expiring deal next year anyway. But at the same time, like I still think like it was a move they didn't necessarily have to do, and so I think it's one of those things where like I'm just glad they extended him, and I'm looking forward. I hope that gives him confidence as well to go into this season. And yeah, that's just what I'm hoping for. Gerald says, keep up the firework. Can't wait for the oodles of content coming up. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There's going to be a ton of content, man. Anyone else going to opening night? Heck yeah, man. I'm going to be there. We're Pistons crew. We're all planning on being there. Details should be dropping soon about what we have planned, what we have going on. There's just, listen, man, there is so much I want to announce to you guys, and so many, like there's projects and potential like really cool things coming that like I can't talk about yet, but let me say very soon I'm not going to shut up about it, and you're going to want to be there to tune in. So you're going to want to be subscribed here. You're going to want to be subscribed on What We're Pistons. You might want to be subscribed over at Woodward Sports and look every weekend for some potential content there too. But that's just a little nugget, little nugget. That's all I'm going to say. But anyway, let's get back to basketball. Tuesday, Pistons preseason starts. I want to set the expectation because I know a lot of us are going to go in really hyped. Expect like 15 minutes tops of the starting unit, right? That's what I'm expecting.
Honestly, I'm like, don't play Cade. We don't want another rolled ankle, right?
Yeah, literally, why play him? Well, I mean, they're gonna, but he'll play like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Like even the Warriors guys today, they played like 10, 15 minutes tops. That's just how it goes in the preseason. It's very similar NBA, like very similar NFL, where it's like you let these guys go get some run, like maybe like the first half, and then the second half, they're not coming back in. That's just not happening. But in addition, I think the more important thing to look for in this preseason is I'm expecting the position battles. More importantly, yeah, I'm glad we're setting the expectation properly. I'm expecting a preseason. Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like the midseason cup that Adam Silver's talking about, we just need to make that the preseason championship so that Detroit can win that every damn year. That's what we need. Side note, what do you think of the midseason cup? I just like everything I've like every single like draft I've heard of it so far is like, all right, This draft slightly sucks less than the last draft, but it still sucks. Go back to the drawing board. It's like, I get European soccer does it, and like I get it's cool over there, but like try telling LeBron to play for a mid-season trophy.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Who cares?
I actually have a better idea, but I'm going to save it for another detailed podcast or episode because I think the tournament can work, but I don't think it will work for this.
Yeah, let's save that for when we actually have like a planned. Maybe we can do that in like a podcast where we all come up with our own proposed plans for it. That'd be fun. Another thing I want to do too, and let me know if you're down for this in the comments. From Half Court Fantasy Basketball League. That would be pretty fire, would it not? We could even potentially do prizes. We could do giveaways through it. I'm thinking I'm going to start that up pretty soon. But if you are down to do a From Half Court Fantasy Basketball League, let me know in the comments, and I can make Naranjan get on that right away. No, I'm kidding. I can't make him do that. But that is not his job. But Steve, back to preseason. Like I said, I think the thing that's going to be the most interesting is going to be the rotation, like the rotation battles and the position competitions that are going on in camp. Because, for one, it's who's going to be starting opening night, who's going to be coming off the bench consistently. Because the reality is, Steve, there's guys on this team that we really like that might not get consistent minutes. So what are you expecting? What players in particular are you curious to see in the first preseason contest?
Number one, the heavyweight championship of the world involving Marvin Bagley. Chiefs do front court players because it's like, what is that combination going to look like now that Bojan is here? Is he going to be the other forward next to Sadiq? That seems like a bad idea. I brought it up before. Bojan and Marvin Bagley should not play together, please. Otherwise, we'll have to change the name to the Detroit Pistons. There will be no defense. There will be no D. And then Beef Stew. I wonder, he's the one that I'm like, man, I would like to see him play just to get an idea of like the 3-point shot and how that affects his offensive game. But also, again, like we talked about, he's the guys that gets like 10, 15 minutes. So yeah, I think the front court is number one for me. Number two being Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren. How much shine are they going to get? Are they going to let the young guys just kind of run and get out there? And then lastly, they would have to be the undrafted guys. I'm the draft guy, so I'm always going to bring up undrafted guys, Stanley Moody and UCLA guy Jules Bernard.
They're going to give Buddy Boeheim the clip, the green light to go off in the garden.
Indeed. He's just going to shoot.
Oh, it's going to be something.
Do you guys remember that what was that LMFAO song? Shot. That's pretty much what goes on in Buddy Boeheim's mind all the time. So
everybody.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. No, it's going to be fun. I really do believe that, like I even looking at like some of the clips that they've posted, like of like practice and training and stuff. It like just seeing how Bojan's like going to help like space the floor. I'm just, seeing him around the team, like just seeing him around the team. I'm like, oh yeah, this is everything I wanted it to be. Like Steve, like if we were literally like, I think I brought this up before. Like if we were to make a list of players that like I would have traded for as a general manager of the Detroit Pistons, he was at the top of the list. Like he brought like everything we needed, like a veteran presence, someone who could go get an easy bucket, someone who's over the age of 30. Like, thank God we have someone who's older, man. Like, it's like, don't get me wrong, I love the young movement, but at some point you need a reasonable head in the room, do you not?
Yeah, absolutely. And especially somebody that can score but doesn't demand the ball.
Yeah, exactly. And then like that's the thing. He can play effectively with or without the ball in his hands. I mean, you brought it up. It's not going to look pretty when if there's a Marvin Bagley Bojan Bogdanovic lineup. I think that'll be like something they'll throw out there one time, and it's gonna be like, oh, never again, never again. It's like, hey, these guys can high five each other when they're going in for each other in the game. That's about it.
Yep.
Yep, that is about it. But I mean, even someone brought up, it's like, so not Corey Joseph. Well, here's the thing, Corey Joseph, he's going to be in some position battles. Like even like guys like Hamidou Diallo are going to have to like fight for minutes over Corey Joseph. And like I know that sounds ridiculous because I know that like Hamidou's a better athlete. I know Hamidou has a higher ceiling. I know like if Hamidou gets a jump shot, it's not even a debate. But Steve, that's right there, right? And in addition, Corey Joseph, he also brings that, they really like how he brings his stable leader, like that stable leadership to the court. A guy that you know what to expect. He doesn't necessarily turn the ball over. He can knock down a shot at a semi-consistent rate. He's not the best on defense, but he's not going to like necessarily miss an assignment, right? Like he's your autopilot mode if you need Cade to get out of the game for a little bit.
Yeah, not only that, the reason they played him so much is he's a good complement to Cade, where he's going to space out. He shot over 40% from three. He plays point of attack defense. He does not demand the ball, and like you said, he does not turn it over. He does. I don't want to say he's the bare minimum because that is a dismissive statement of Corey Joseph. I think he is a good backup point guard. He's proven that for many years. But obviously, the team I think wants more. Hence, Jaden Ivey. They hope he can be that. Yeah. And much, 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 much more.
Yeah, for sure. And, like even, but like, even like guys like Hamidou Diallo, like, for that like two guard, role in the backcourt, like he's a guy in particular that I'm just really curious to see what he's going to look like this season, because, him in particular, he has so many skills. He has so many intangibles. He did improve and show flashes of really good play this last year. But again, it's just one of those things at a certain point. It's like, all right, well, can you give yourself enough to consistently be on the court or not? Yeah. And when it comes down to winning time, like those little things matter. Like you have to be a little more nitpicky with their game. Like you just can't like blatantly ignore the shortcomings anymore. Right.
Yeah, so if you didn't listen to the Woodward Pistons table talk last night, go back and listen to it because we all brought up our X factors for the season, and Hamidou Diallo was mine. And I said, I don't even think it's the three-point shot that he needs, but to play consistent defense. What the team is lacking is an athletic wing. If he can be that defender that can at least get in the way of like a Kevin Durant or a Giannis, who knows if that's possible because they lost Grant, and that was what Grant had to do because nobody else could do it. Right. I don't know if Hamidou's up for that, but if he keeps a good, solid, like not to say that his offense doesn't matter, but that is a difference maker, and that's what will get him a job for a very long time because the shot, just keeping it real, the free throw line and the 3-point percentage have not been good. Where he can make an impact is, again, being a hustle guy and using that 6'11" wingspan, using 6'5", 205 pounds, because he's strong too, underrated strength guy. He can guard multiple positions. That could be something that would make a big difference, not just for this team this year, who's lacking a wing defender, but for his career.
Most definitely. Now, real quick, Steve, I do want to bring up some breaking news because I would be remiss. It's over. We are screwed. Tesla has made an AI robot, and on the first glance, this looks like Iron Man 2. Does this not look like Iron Man 2?
Is Justin Hammer going to come dancing out to the stage too?
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, where's the guy that's like, I don't want my bird? And he's like, I got you a bird. I want my bird. It's my favorite part of that movie is the bird. But dude, look at this thing. Is that not terrifying? Like,
yeah.
Like, granted, like it's like all right, it's cool. You'd think like for how many millions of dollars this prototype was, it didn't walk like it had to pee really bad. Like, overall, does it not look like it's like trying to hold it in while it's going to the toilet? It's like, I'm almost there.
Oh yeah,
I'm almost
it looks
there.
like squeezing those butt cheeks
Sweet
together for
release.
sure.
This is the type of content you could only get here from Half Court. No, but I just saw that on Twitter. And I was like, holy, that's terrifying. Yep,
Yeah,
someone just said it right
iRobot.
there.
Yeah,
iRobot.
absolutely.
Yep. The apocalypse is now. But anyway, in the interim, while we're waiting for our imminent death, let's talk some more basketball. So another
Skynet's about to boot up. Watch out.
oh my gosh. It's like, yeah, everything's fine. This is fine. There's actually another preseason game happening tonight in Seattle. NBA basketball is back in Seattle tonight. It's actually going to be the Los Angeles Clippers, and they're facing, I believe it's a European team, but it even has some former NBA players on there. Like I saw Norris Cole warming up, getting ready to compete. I was like, man, that is a guy I didn't know he was still playing basketball. Good for him, man. But real quick, we'll get back to Pistons here in a second because I want to talk a little bit more about X factors because I want to get into mine. But what do you think about the Los Angeles Clippers, Steve? I'm curious on your thoughts because I'm just looking at what they have over here and I'm just like, are we all as a collective just like ignoring the Clippers because they might genuinely have the best roster in basketball right now as far as like top to bottom who they have on their roster just on paper. And then like Kawhi Leonard coming back off of an injury, granted, like can he stay healthy? But at the same time, if he can, the last time he was on the court, he still looked like a freaking menace. I think he's still going to be Kawhi. I'm just, I think there could be a title coming to LA this year, and I don't think it's going to be the Lakers by any means.
The only problem is they are team paper mache between John Wall, Kawhi Leonard, and Reggie Jackson.
the paper mache Clippers.
You know what I mean, though? Even Reggie Jackson, right? Because we remember his knee tendonitis, and his asthma seems to have, been under a lot healthier conditions there in Los Angeles, which is odd. You think all that smog and stuff would mess them up a little more, but that's just the thing. And it's hinges on Kawhi. If Kawhi's even like 70%, I just can't see it because everything hinges on him. Like the defense, I don't know that PG really wants to give that level of effort just because he hasn't shown that level of effort on defense in quite some time.
When Kawhi is at his best is when he is a two-way threat. When like there's been times over the last couple of years where Kawhi's objectively not tried as hard in the defensive end and has just reserved his energy to produce on the offensive end. But Kawhi's not elite. Like he's like a really good offensive player. He might be elite in the mid-range. His overall offensive game isn't what makes him special. It's what he can do. It's what he can do on the defensive end in combination with being able to take over games on offense. Like there's not you're not going to get 40 points out of Kawhi every night. But there are going to be those nights where if you need to put the ball in Kawhi's hands when he's healthy, of course, he will take it and he will run with it. Right? But but that's the thing is, like how much are we going to get the load management stuff this year? Because you can say all you want about how like you can do that and still win a title, but like the Raptors was an anomaly. Like we saw when Kawhi was like dealing with like load management in the 2020 year, you know what those guys looked like in the playoffs? A team that never played with each other. Because they never played with each other. So like like you said, if these guys aren't like on the court together on a consistent basis, that's going to be their downfall.
Yeah,
but if they are, but if they are, like if they are, they're definitely going to the conference finals at least.
Yeah, I mean the reason the Raptors got to the finals was Kawhi versus Giannis, right? So I think Zion's probably going to make a playoff push. like that's somebody that, again, who on the Clippers has to guard Zion? It's got to be Kawhi, right?
Right.
Like you don't want any of those bigs on him. Maybe Batu gets it, but I feel like that's a recipe for disaster just because Batu's slower and older. He can probably like do some spot he did on LeBron way back when, but again, like Kawhi's got to be the one to do it. And then LeBron, if they run into LeBron in the playoffs again, it's got to be Kawhi.
Dude,
I'm trying to think of the other.
Just think of all the potential matchups. Imagine if we get like, I mean, obviously I know the one that everyone's circling. I know like the one that we're all kind of anticipating this year is the Milwaukee Golden State finals. I know that's like the one that feels like it's kind of destined to be, but at the same time, I would not complain if we got a Giannis Kawhi finals. Like that would objectively be kind of badass, would it not?
Yeah, absolutely.
I could watch that every day for the rest of my life and be happy.
Yeah, if the Pistons aren't in the finals, then Giannis, until then, please just put Giannis in there until Cade's ready.
I mean, like, I'm not like, listen, the Eastern Conference is more competitive than it's ever been. But at the end of the day, if Giannis and his supporting cast is healthy, I mean, how can you not get to the finals with him? Like, there's like, even if the 76ers are firing at all cylinders, if James Harden is MVP level James Harden, if he truly is in the best shape he's been in since his prime, if Joel Embiid is on fire and firing on all cylinders, there's a realistic chance that, like, hey, that team can be awesome, but Giannis is just better.
Yeah.
like that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And man, the clash of that perimeter attack versus that downhill ferocity. Man, you know how they say styles make fights? That style would be a pretty damn intriguing fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. But I want to get to my we were talking X factors. You already know mine, right? Is it much of a secret? It's Marvin Bagley. I feel like I'm like leading like a revolution of Pistons Twitter of like Marvin Bagley believers. Like how Kevin O'Connor, shout out to Kevin O'Connor, by the way, please come on the podcast someday. You're literally one of my heroes. Anyway, if he could still be on the Killian Hayes train, I could still be on the Marvin Bagley train. And listen, him saying these are the best teammates he's ever had, how like listen, like listen, some guys can be talk. It's media day, right? Like it's like the first day of school, you're getting the syllabus, all that kind of stuff. But like, if he truly is thinking about how he can get to the next level in his game, how he can be great, how he can take next steps, like this is a guy that's only 21 years old. The story's not written on what his career's going to be yet. There's merely just been a bump in the road, a difficult chapter. Like ultimately, guys, like we've seen players break out and have good, have good careers in their 5th or 6th season, right? So like, I'm not saying he's going to come in and be an all-star. I'm not saying he'll ever be an all-star. I'm not going there by any means. However, even if he's a guy that can come off the bench, get you 15, 16 a night, 8 boards, play reliable enough defense. Because if you look at the analytics, if Marvin Bagley's actually at the rim, he's deterring shots. Like he's good at protecting the rim. It's just a matter of making the right reads and being there consistently, right? So like, I just think for him, like there's a reason why that ceiling's high, man. And like, I just really do think that this is the best culture for him possible to make it happen. I really do. Like if it can't make it, my point with Marvin Bagley is this: if it can't work here, if it can't work in this situation, it can't work anywhere.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to already see that it's going to work out somewhat, just the chemistry between he and Cade in terms of like a pick and a lob threat. If I can give a keeping it real type of comparison, Brandon Wright, who mainly played or mainly is remembered for playing with the Dallas Mavericks, he was similar. He didn't really block shots. He wasn't like this defensive whiz. He was 6'10", 210 pounds, coming out of North Carolina in 2007. Like whatever, his career averages are 7 points, 3.6 rebounds, point or 1 block. But at Dallas, he was 8.2 points, to 4 rebounds, 1.1 block. Marvin Bagley's already, and Brandon Wright, like carved out this 10-year career to 10 years of just being a great pick and roll threat. He was not the athlete that Marvin Bagley is. He did not have the post moves and touch that Marvin Bagley does. They're probably about even as a defender. Like 10-year career of being this bench big who can get you a bucket, who makes life easier for guards. I think that's the one thing that is very undersold about Marvin Bagley and his ability in the pick and roll, his ability as a lob threat. That just makes life so much easier for all of the ball handlers on offense, which goes a long way and will keep him in the league for a long time.
Can I throw mine out there? Mine's Antonio McDyess. I feel like a guy who, had a long career, who people forget, but at the beginning of Antonio McDyess's career, like there was a point where McDyess was averaging like 20 plus points a game. Like the guy could score. And really the only thing with McDyess was his health. It was like, how often could he be on the court? He had knee issues. He had back, like he had like a litany of injuries throughout his career. Right. But he was still able to have a long, fruitful career because there were things that he could, like, he was one of those guys who could crash the boards, he was a reliable mid-range jump shot guy. He was a guy who, could do a variety of things. And, even if Marvin Bagley, even if he doesn't reach those heights or he's like 20 points a game, like I think if he's healthy, he can have seasons or like we can say, oh, Marvin Bagley, like, okay. But like at the same time, I think it's the same thing with Antonio McDyess. It's like, all right, well, what's really that runway? What's really that health? But ultimately, he has the intangibles to have a long career in this league. Like, if he's like a solid backup big, like a JaVale McGee light, like he's gonna have a job in this league for years.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely got to be better on defense. I think that's going to be the thing that like is going to haunt him until it's there. But absolutely, everything you're saying. And Dice had a 15-year career. He definitely had like 2 phases to that pre-knee injury. When he was in Denver, he was like, you said, over 20 points, and then he had that injury in like 2003 or something like that.
Yep.
2002. Yeah, and then he turned into this like incredibly solid vet with his IQ and just being able to do a bunch of different things.
Yeah, for sure. And like again, like and obviously Marvin Bagley's not nearly there yet on the mental side of things. He's young. He can take those steps, but again, he's in the culture and he's in the place where, people are going to push him, and like people can, he's also in a situation where they're not going to give up on him that quick either. So I think again, it's like, it's a similar thing with Killian. Like if Killian Hayes was in Sacramento right now, he'd be like, that's just the way it is. Right. If Killian Hayes was in Washington right now, he'd be. He's in the Pistons. He's lucky he's on the Pistons. He's in a situation that's giving him runway, letting him do his thing and letting him grow as a player. And that's all you can ask for, right?
Yeah, and Joe just wanted me to let you know, don't go to Sacramento.
I think Joe would have loved the opportunity to draft him over Luka Doncic. I think Joe would have reveled at the chance of missing another generational talent in exchange for drafting Marvin Bagley. I think he's on both phones trying to figure out how he can make that happen right now.
Maybe Luka Doncic made his mom, whatever they said about Vlade that made him pass. Ridiculous.
Oh my goodness, dude. So I know another guy. I know a lot of people have been asking a lot of, like, one of the people I still see questions about all the time is what's happening with Kemba Walker. What's going on with Kemba Walker? What's the deal with Kemba Walker? And to answer that, I just want to give a little bit of clarification real quick, Steve. A little bit of mental exercise. Right now, Pistons are going into training camp, and after the trade that they got Bojan Bogdanovic, Steve, the Pistons currently are one roster spot over where they need to be on opening night. Let's do the math, Steve. Who's going to be that one player that won't be on the roster opening night? Could it perhaps be the person who isn't at the freaking, like, that isn't at the facility, that hasn't been with the team since day one, they've talked about wanting to find a trade for, but there literally is nothing for him. Like,
no, come on, man. This is Brandon Knight, and they redid that, and they have that error corrected.
dude, just give Kemba 40 minutes a night. That's what we need. We just need to see if Kemba can go back to his glory days. We need him to mentor Jaden Ivey.
This is how we get Victor Wembanyama.
This is how, this exact. Jaden Ivey, this is how you don't take care of your legs as you get older. This is this is how you not take care of things.
Well, I mean, I blame the Celtics. They haven't exactly had a great taking care of people's knees or lower bodies.
No, they have not. Speaking of, Robert Williams is apparently he's apparently not going to be back to basketball activity for another 8 to 12 weeks. And that's like just getting back to like basketball activity, like being on a court again.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, man. Like I'm not feeling as confident about Boston as I was 2 weeks ago. I'm not feeling as confident about the Suns as I was 2 weeks ago. I sure as hell am not feeling confident about Chicago right now. Did you see, I saw a report yesterday, dude. The Bulls are reportedly bracing for the reality that Lonzo Ball will miss the entire season.
Yeah, they need to fire that medical staff, whoever that is. Somebody was telling me, I think it's still the same medical staff that ruined Luol Deng as well, which is ridiculous at this point. Like, how do you continue to put these people's lives in jeopardy too? It's not just,
it's their livelihood.
Whatever. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And going back to the Boston one too, like IT4, they did that to him. They told him the same thing they told Robert Williams. You can't hurt it any worse, which is bullshit. Pardon my language, but that one does get me upset. And then they did it to Kemba too, and now it's happened to Robert Williams. So
and the other thing too, and this is where, again, we have to preface that we're not medical professionals, we're not doctors. I'm not a surgeon. I can't tell you anything about that. But what I can say is I've noticed a trend over the last few years, in particular with non-invasive knee surgeries and them having ramifications that weren't expected. If people recall, Blake Griffin went through a pretty similar thing in his time in Detroit, where he had an MCL issue that he got fixed with a non-invasive knee surgery. Here's the problem about a non-invasive knee surgery. There's no such thing as a non-invasive surgery. And so, and like the whole point of the non-invasive surgery is that it's supposed to have like a shorter, shorter recovery time. And like, it's starting to seem to me like these non-invasive surgeries are actually causing a lot of issues, because like part of the surgery, like Lonzo Ball just had his third knee surgery in the past year. And part of it was they had to go in to see what exactly is going on. Right? That's the thing. Like, if you're doing a non-invasive knee surgery, you're not entirely getting the full scoop of everything that's going on. So, like, it just seems to me like we just have to, like, for all the work and progress that we've made in the medical field on these major injuries, right? Like the torn ACL, guys are getting back quicker than ever. We're seeing guys coming back off of torn Achilles and still playing pretty good basketball. But like, we have to figure out this minuscule stuff as well, because like you said, Steve, like this, like, and people have to be held accountable. Like, it's like a similar thing with like with Tyrod Taylor, and he was on the Chargers when, Justin Herbert, he just had that same injection into his rib cage so that he could go out there and play. But like, didn't they pierce Tyrod Taylor's lung?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, man. It's like, you better be damn sure about who you have in the building and your medical staff. Like, that's like, say what you will about the Pistons. One of the things that we had during all those great runs too was the best medical staff in the NBA. We had that for like 20 years.
Shout out Arnie.
Yep. So
Mike Adebayor.
I'm just sad, man, because Lonzo Ball is a great player. You know, when he's on the court, the Bulls are a really fun team to watch. But Steve, the Nikola Vucevic trade is looking worse than ever. We don't even know if Lonzo Ball is going to be on the court this year. DeMar DeRozan isn't getting younger. Zach LaVine, we don't even know if he's going to be on the court the entire season. The entire Eastern Conference around them just got better, and all they did this offseason was get Goran Dragic, which was seemingly to replace Lonzo Ball in the rotation. How in the hell is this even a play-in team at this? Like, they might be a play-in team, but like, and here's the other thing too. If they don't make the if they don't make the playoffs, guess what? Their pick this year, it's top 4 protected to Orlando. They got Franz Wagner out of that pick that they traded for Vucevic. And they also got Wendell Carter, who's currently better than Nikola Vucevic. The Chicago, like I talked about like a couple months ago about how the Bulls like were like a competitive team. This is getting ugly quick. And like if the only way this is semi-salvageable is if Patrick Williams has a good season. If he doesn't, it's panic time. It is major panic time. Oh, you should be unmuted now.
Oh, and Kobe White too. Kobe White as well. I think that's another like X factor in this. Somebody, I cannot remember if it's Sam Vecini or Bill Simmons talking about, is DeMar DeRozan a Hall of Fame player? And they put up his numbers and where he's at currently in terms of like points and all that stuff. Everybody at that level and above is already in the Hall of Fame. Like if they make the playoffs this year, I think that probably solidifies DeMar DeRozan's like Hall of Fame case. You're right. Roster sucks like so much. Like with all that money they spent last offseason, my goodness. Yeah, Kobe White, Patrick Williams, like they really, really, really have to play well in order for them to make the playoffs. Oh, they got our old guy Drummond. I forgot he even went there.
Yeah. He's their backup big. Thank God. But you know, like I mean, there's
a world where it can work. I forgot about Ayo Dosunmu too, because they do have 3 young guys that theoretically can play next to DeMar.
I love Dosunmu.
Dosunmu, Kobe White, Patrick Williams, and then DeMar, and then whoever they want to play at the 5. That actually isn't that bad of a lineup.
Yeah. I mean, like if Dosunmu has a breakout year, they might be fine. But like at the same time, he might be one of those guys, or like he has he's like a solid floor guy. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he could. Yeah. I feel like at best he's going to be like a solid starter to like a good rotational piece. But I don't see him being an all-star, to be honest with you. Good player though. Good player.
Yeah.
But I did want to shout out real quick. If you haven't watched Carl Collins' hype trailer yet for the Pistons, you need to. I saw some people in the chat hyping it up. Go subscribe to Carl on YouTube at Carl Collins Productions. In addition, though, you also need to go check out my guy Zarik dropped his as well on Woodward Sports today. And let me tell you, man, both were absolute bangers. And the crazy thing is we have Zarik that works at Woodward Sports, and we have Carl that works at Woodward Pistons. These guys are doing a collaboration project soon. We have both of them.
Twin towers of video production, man.
Dude, and we got the 2 best graphics people too. Like we have a monopoly on the editors and the graphic designers. Like we have the best creative team on all of Pistons Twitter. Like no one can compete with that. We have the freaking we have the freaking Infinity Gauntlet. You know what I'm saying?
Carl's the Mind Stone, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Full disclosure, I would love to watch them on stream. However, I'm pretty sure they both used music that YouTube wouldn't be in love with, And I would like to have the ad revenue from this. If that's not too selfish, that's all I can ask. And then we have Sean to balance things out. That's exactly right, Chuck. It's like, listen, we have this group that could shoot to the stars, and I'm the one that's bringing us back down to earth and keeping us in check. That's what I'm here for, right, Steve?
Keeping it real, man. Keep it correct.
Well, but also, Steve, we have you too. You're on this as well, man. You're doing some awesome stuff with us.
I think I'm the old man yells at cloud, the Grandpa Simpson of Woodward Pistons.
Hey, it was funny. I texted King today too. Shout out everything King, by the way. I was like, dude, I missed my content godfather, man. I like that guy's my boy. I love that man. But
shout out King.
Oh, front half court can show them. Oh, shoot, I can? Awesome. Well, in that case, let's watch Carl's right now, shall we? Full disclosure, I didn't listen to like a whole ton of like the audio from Zarique's trailer earlier, so I don't remember if there was copywritten music on there or not. But let's watch Carl's right now because this one was freaking awesome. I remember just having chills on this one. So I'm gonna pull that trailer right now. We're gonna watch it together as a group, and be sure after I do that, in exchange for me watching this, I need you to go subscribe to his YouTube channel as well. It's Carl Collins Productions. He's at 170 subscribers. That is not enough. We got to bump that. So please
needs to be 170,000, man. Come on.
Yeah, 100%, man. But with that, let me, with Carl's permission here, let me go ahead and press play, and we are going to watch Carl's season hype trailer together right now.
I told the story, my dad used to work on classic cars. He said, if you do it right, there's nothing like them on the road.
Greatness has a chip on its shoulder. Something to prove.
And it's blocked again!
The road to greatness always crosses the road of sacrifice. For each person on this road, it all starts in a single place. For us, that's this place.
Let's go, man.
Here, and it starts now.
This is a story franchise. We want to restore the greatness just like a classic car.
I knew Dwayne was good, of course. He's got all the accolades, the track record.
My goal and my push is to win.
We're building to get to that level and nothing less. That's the level we got to play with if you want to play here in Detroit.
Here comes Hamadou down the lane.
Rivers with a shot.
He hits it. Rejected by Isaiah Stewart.
Hey, you want to drive? Go ahead. It's going to go to the third row.
How good can this team be, and what do you think are the realistic expectations?
Man, I'm telling you, this team is going to be great. I think we got a lot of dogs on this team.
Here's a swipe by Cade. And a dynamite dunk. Sadiq from the corner, and it's down.
My goal is to win and bring the title back here.
Detroit basketball is back.
Like, tell me my boy didn't just snap on that. Like, tell me my boy didn't just snap on that. Holy cow. Incredible. You know what? Screw it. We're watching Zarique's as well. We got to check it out, man. We got to support the people. But dude, holy cow.
Man, count this mess.
I'm not going to lie, man. Just makes me more and more excited what we have going on this season. All right. Here we go, man. We're watching Zarique's right now.
Have you got what you want to so far?
We have a deal.
So far, so good.
Man, I'm telling you, this team is going to be great.
Oh.
Talking here with the newest member of the Detroit Pistons. 5th overall, it's Jaden Ivey.
Detroit is home. Most importantly, Detroit is home for me. I'm going to go all out for the fans, for the organization. And, bring Detroit back to winning.
It's time.
It's
playoff time, Detroit. Let's go to work. Buffed up now. Which game I'm looking at? I'm in this one.
Detroit Pistons, and they're going to overlook us. And they're going to have the L on the calendar. They keep doing that.
Pistons fans up on your feet. Time to meet and greet.
Yeah, you're in this one right here.
Detroit, I'm all the way in.
Bully Ball, give him a subscribe over there, but also follow Zarik on Twitter as well. That guy's the homie. He's doing amazing work. We have both incredible trailers, by the way. I thought both are fantastic. Those guys both nailed it. But with that, Steve, what is there anything else that you're looking forward to this preseason? Anything in particular that you're going to be watching, and what storyline what things are you going to be watching for the rest of this training camp?
Again, the big man battle. I really want to know what the front court is going to look like, how that's going to play out. Subplot of that is Jalen Duren. I believe Troy was on the radio recently saying he doesn't see him as a G League guy. Am I correct in that? Which is interesting to me because it's like, okay, how does he fit in? Where does Nerlens fit in? Which is a guy we kind of haven't talked about a lot because it's hard to see where exactly he fits in. And that's going to be for that is really Jaden Ivey. Like, what's his role going to be? What's he going to be like? Is he going to be starting number one? And how has that mid-range game come up, if at all? Because, again, that's always been my big thing with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Carl, I'm just about putting on for my people, man. You do the same for me, being here and supporting all the time. I'm just all about making sure people go see great content, especially the best Pistons content we have out there, dude. People that are working hard to highlight this team and what they're doing and what they're up to, and also putting on for the city of Detroit, dude. It's what I'm all about. But also, Carl, you're my guy. So be sure, again, Bully Ball on YouTube for Zarik, and Carl Collins Productions for his YouTube. And again, they announced that they're going to be doing a little collaboration coming up soon as well. So I'm hyped for that. That'll definitely be good. So yeah, man, both trailers were fire. Both were fire. But with that, man, I mean, Chuck, shout out, tuning in all the way from Scotland. I just am so excited to see the jump Cade makes year 1 to year 2. He seems like, I know a lot of guys come into year 2 a little more confident with a little bit of a different mentality, a little like want to take on a little bit more, you know what I mean? But like, as far as the mental maturity, Cade looks like he's just on a different level right now. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned before the jump between KD year 1 and KD year 2, where it was like 20 points still, but then the second year was like 25, and the shooting splits were like 50, 40, 90 almost. Like I'm expecting that out of Cade again. Maybe not 25 because I think KD's more wired to score, whereas Cade is score to set up easy opportunities for the teammate. Maybe it's just go up something like 8, but definitely in that 20 to 22 points per game there. I think he can flirt with 50, 40, 90, but it depends on who is around him as well to be able to pull some more gravity their way, because that's obviously the thing that he was lacking a lot of last season. But I mean, if I had to put predictions on the season right now, still Cade would be 22, 8, 6 rebounds. We'll say 48% from 2, 40% from 3, 85%.
Which that's a damn awesome year too. Make no mistake about it. If that's Cade in year 2, I'm thrilled with that. I do think, I don't think, I know a lot of people are expecting his points per game to go up pretty significantly. I just think with Cade's game, I just don't think he's ever going to be the guy that's 27 points a night. I certainly can see him being at 22, 23, 24 points a game. But I think the Pistons will be at their best, and I think Cade will be at their best if he doesn't have to go out there and be the offensive guy. I think some of the struggles last year were just that and I think that's something you're going to see from Orlando this year too, is just that number 1 pick guy just being double teamed so much. Even though Orlando, they still have some guys you have to respect. I feel like they're where the Pistons were last year, where it's they have some talent, they have some remnants of things they can put together. I don't think they're going to be that good. And I think Paolo's going to he's going to get double teamed a ton. I think he's going to have a lot of turnovers. I think he's going to have some nights where he's going to score 25 and get 8 rebounds and 8 rebounds and look awesome. I also think he's going to have some nights where even though he's a tough guy, I think he's still going to have to adjust to the physicality and the pace of the game. I still think he's going to have nights where he's going to go have 8 points and shoot 2 of 8 from the field,
Yeah, that team is interesting too, because theoretically they could put a lineup around him that would make his life easier, but they still want Jalen Suggs in there, so that kind of throws a monkey wrench in that plan. And then I don't know how their guard situation is working out. Fultz just got hurt again. They have Cole Anthony, RJ Hampton. Who knows?
Yeah, it was weird. Fultz said we could be the 4th seed, but it was literally after it was announced he was going to be missing time. And
well, he knows they freed up more shooters.
Yeah, exactly. But also the other thing too, I saw this today. The Orlando Magic experimented a front line of Paolo, Bull, and Wendell Carter at today's practice. And listen, I know they're just experimenting right now, but if they're just trying to recreate Drummond, Greg Monroe, and Josh Smith, just tell us. I mean, some of these guys can space the floor a little, but bro, we're moving backwards, Orlando. Come on, don't do this. Oh my Lord.
Get Victor Wembanyama. He can be the 4th guy in that lineup.
Dude, it's true. That is true. Make reboards a thing.
And then Baba Miller's another guy that's like that, coming out of Florida State. He could be the 5th guy in that lineup. There you go.
Whoa,
maybe
Sean,
they get
that was a
Poku.
fire trio. Listen, that's
Poku.
only a fire trio in 2K. All right, that ain't a fire trio in real life. When's the last time we've seen Bull on the court? The NBA bubble.
Bubble.
It's literally been the bubble. Bubble Bull. It's great. It's great. Love y'all, man. Y'all the best. Hey, I love y'all too, man. Seriously. Part of why I went live tonight was just I needed to be around my people. I needed to talk hoops. I needed to interact with the chat, man. Y'all keep me going just as much as any, I hope the content helps some of you guys too. But in all seriousness, man, I'm just pumped to talk basketball this season. I'm just excited to, a lot of people have been saying, hey man, hope you guys keep it up this year. We're doubling down this year, man. We are I don't think you understand. I'm planning on doing these types of streams at least once to 2 to 3 times a week. I'm just we have some awesome content coming up. We have some awesome writing that we have planned. We're trying to make sure that we have some really great content lined up for you guys this year. I'm going all in this year. And not just because of not just because I'm excited for the season, but obviously I have goals, man. I have places I want to take this channel. I have places I want to take this career. I'm just going to, We're just going to keep taking it. And yeah, man, this is going to be a big year for me personally. This is going to be a big year for our team. This is going to be a big year for the channel. So yeah, man, be sure you're subscribed if you're not already. Be sure you like this video. Also, follow my guy, Steve. Dude, thanks so much for hopping in. This was literally unprompted. I just sent you a link in your DMs. You're like, let's go. So like, that's just what I love about you. You're just always ready to go. So I'm going to make sure I get it right this time. At Burke Worldwide. Did I get it this time?
I mean, it's close enough. We roll our R's though, so you have to learn how to speak Borqueño or be from Borque. So
I'm gonna level with you. That's not gonna happen. I suck at rolling my R's. I can hardly speak on a day-to-day basis what I'm doing right now. So like butter, like butter. I can't roll. I can't. It's just butter. Like
I know.
See it. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, linguistically, they've shown like there are people who cannot roll the R. So yeah, it happens.
I'm one. Hold on. I am one of them people. There we go. We got the auto-tune. I'm just glad it worked this time because there's times where it's like it'll potentially do the squeaky voice, and I'm like, I'm just setting myself up for failure. But then there's times like this. Where is Sekou, by the way? Did he quit? I don't know, but Google's going to tell us right now.
Yeah.
All right. Sekou Doumbouya. A French professional basketball player who last played for the Los Angeles Lakers of the National Basketball Association on a two-way contract. So currently, as of right now, it looks like he is currently not on a team anywhere at this current time. There's nothing documented about where he's at. So I'm not sure if he's just taking some time away. But yeah, he looks like he's not.
I heard he's going to be on the European Pistons with Walter Herman and Darko and Carlos Arroyo, Jose Calderon. There you go.
They're just running like a big pickup league with all the former European Pistons. That'd be sick.
There you go.
Yeah, going to work. I'd love to see it. But I'm going to opening night. So I will be there opening night. I will definitely be at more games than that this year. I promise you that. But as of right now, all I know about is opening night. But with that, folks, we've gone for about an hour and 20 minutes now. I feel like I covered everything I wanted to talk about. Also, there's preseason basketball on. So I'm going to go watch that because that's all I want to do is watch basketball. But seriously, man, thank you all so much for tuning in. It seriously means the world to me that we have this kind of community already. I'm super pumped to see where it goes. I really think this year is going to be great. Subscribe to From Half Court. Subscribe to Where We're Pistons. Follow my guy, Burke Worldwide. Look at that kind of a roll. Also follow me at Sean Half Court. But thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will catch you guys next time from Half Court. Be sure to subscribe.